won't you think that it should be the place of the international community to say, okay, some Cameroonians, they say they want independence, and some say they want a one and indivisible country. Why not say, let's give them a referendum, let them decide? How do you think about that, sir?
This is the Cameroonian people have to decide, and the local people have to decide how they want to live and what constitution they want to have in the future. So, and there's a saying, African problems should have African solutions. And sometimes I think, what is the role of African Union? What is the role of ECOWAS in this Cameroon conflict? I'm not quite sure about that. I don't know too much about it, but maybe you can give me some information on that.
The Biafran War was resolved in Nigeria because it was about Nigeria. The Cameroonian crisis should be resolved in Cameroon because it's a Cameroonian crisis. But let me say this.
May I say that what I understand about British politicians is that they do not care about your history. They're not interested. They don't want to hear people from Ambazonia talking about what happened in 1960 and 1961. They're not interested.
Why do you think they're not interested?
I know they're not interested because I'm British and I mix with politicians all the time.
Right. Do you see any motivation, any particular motivation behind their action?
No, it is very important that you hear what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
They are not interested in your history. They are not interested in listening to people from your country getting very angry. And every time that one of your politicians gets extremely angry with the British, it is self-defeating. You are not going to win their sympathy. What you need to do is talk about today and the future, because they are simply not interested. You are wasting your breath if you talk about the history of 1961, because they don't want to know. It embarrasses them.
Is this because they were part of it and they failed in that assignment? Could that be the reason?
It's also, yes, part of the reason, but also the British are not interested in their colonial history because it is embarrassing to them.
I get extremely frustrated when I hear from the Cameroonian community that they are waiting for the international community to solve the problem. And I keep telling people the brutal truth is that the international community is not going to solve the problem.
Well, I guess the message is now settling down amongst most Ambazonians because we see what is going on in Ukraine. Now, you stated at a London conference that the UN sees this as a domestic crisis. How do you see it, sir? Do you consider it a domestic crisis or an international conflict? I know you have said that the UN ought to come in and do something, intervene. I guess the UN is not intervening because, in your words, they see it as a domestic crisis. How would you qualify this conflict, sir?
I mean, it's an internal conflict, no question, and this is the reason why the UN Security Council didn't respond when Germany was asking for it.
Okay, now you will realize that the same international community is the one saying, let's get back to the root causes of this conflict. And when you say they are not interested in going back to the causes, isn't that a little contradictory?
No, well, you see, I don't agree with you that they want to go to the root causes. I don't think they've ever said they want to look at the root causes. You know, they take a superficial view at every subject because Cameroon is one of dozens of problems on the international agenda. They are not going to look into the root causes, whatever they may say. And I know that the truth hurts, and I'm sorry to have to say this, but this is my advice, having associated with Western politicians for a very long time. I think I know them fairly well, and I do know that their eyes glaze over the minute you start talking about the past. That's why you have to talk about the future and what could be done now.